I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order on October 2nd. It's 7 o'clock. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to go into executive session for personnel pursuant to CGS Section 1-200-6A? Marcy moves. John seconds. All in favor? Okay. May I have a motion to return to regular session? Marcy moves. John seconds. All righty. Moving right along there. Next item is First Selectmen's report. So hurricane season has begun and all of town Darien departments with responsibilities related to emergency preparedness remain proactively informed and ready. On October 4th, this coming Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m., the Darien Library will host a presentation by Voices Center for Resilience. The program will include a panel discussion that highlights the efforts of local and state agencies to prepare communities for emergencies. Panelists will include Mark McEwen, the Assistant Fire Marshal and Emergency Management Director for Darien, and Robert Kenny Jr. He's Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection Division of Emergency Management, Homeland Security. They'll have tip sheets for preparedness, and behavioral health resources will be distributed to those in attendance. The event is free, it's open to the public, and if you're interested, you can register. They're asking for people to register ahead of time, so you can register on the website for the library. At 2:20 the same day, on October 4th, FEMA will be conducting an emergency management emergency alert system test. That's the test that you get on your phone, right? So it'll be a text, and to make sure that the system is working. So that's on emergency. So the bus tour for Great Island was rescheduled. We were waiting to hear from the bus company, and we did. So it's been rescheduled for October 28th. There'll be 3 school buses that will be running from Pear Tree onto the island. Trip is about an hour long, and weather permitting, we'll have a couple of stops where people will get off the bus and take a look around. You won't be going into any buildings, but you'll be seeing some of the grounds. All of the reservations that were made for the September 23rd tour will be honored for this, and we're really excited to get residents out on the property to get a chance to see it. And but again, I have to stress that the island is not open to residents by car, bike, or walk-ins, and this will hold true for that day as well as all other days. Finally, a new town website is live. We have received very positive feedback regarding the site and making a few little adjustments here and there, but I think it's going great. Last week, I received notification from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada that Darien has been awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for its annual comprehensive final report, which ended fiscal year June 30th, 2022. This marks the 32nd consecutive year that Darien has received this impressive award. It's the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment really is a significant accomplishment. So I want to thank Jen Charneski for her leadership and her professionalism in her role as the Director of Finance for the town of Darien. Those are my comments.
Just if you cannot attend, but you had registered to attend the bus tour, do people call Town Hall and cancel? Because I know it was totally booked.
Yes.
And there may be, okay.
Yes, please cancel if you know you can't make it.
Because
Absolutely.
there is a wait list.
Right, there is a wait list.
There is a wait
Let
list.
us know that you can't go.
Absolutely. Kate?
I have nothing.
Nothing? Mike?
The Blight Review Board will meet on October 11th, so we'll have a report
from that body at our subsequent meeting.
Which is the next day, I think?
No, it'll be next
17th?
Monday, because it's a
17th or 18th.
it's a Wednesday.
Oh, it's the 18th, okay, 17th, okay, all right. Sarah?
So, 2 updates for you. The Thriving Youth Task Force met for the first time this particular year on Thursday, September 21st. The results of the survey, the Darien Youth Survey that was taken this year by our students, will be presented on October 12th at 7 p.m. at the Darien Library. And the survey was taken this year by the Darien 6th through 12th graders. The data was collected about their mental health and substance use patterns, and it will be used to guide community and school efforts to support Darien youth and to create programming for parents that directly addresses the areas of greatest concern. There will be a panel discussion, and they'll be able to answer questions. The event is free and open to the public, and anyone who's interested in learning more should attend, and they can learn more information by using the link at the Community Fund site for the Thriving Youth Survey. The next meeting will be in November, I think it's the 21st. And for the Hinley Homes and Royal Building Committee, our last meeting was on the 27th. Right now, they're preparing to go for a rebidding. Tomorrow, the documents will be available for any of the folks who would like to bid on these packages. So as of October 3rd, they'll be public. The bidders will be notified, people who've bid in the past and the ones who have bid in these kind of packages before with the construction company. And then Karen Dunn is going to be posting them on the State of Connecticut site, is my understanding. The public will be allowed to walk through the different schools. They will not be allowed to ask questions, but they can walk through the schools if they have any questions. So on October 17th at 2:30 p.m. at Home School, October 18th at 2 p.m. at Hinley, and October 19th at 2 p.m. at Royal. Bids should be all due by November 1st, and this will allow us to then get the information, get the guaranteed maximum price, and then come before the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance before going to the RTM to get those approved.
Hey, Sarah, going to the Thriving Youth, that study, is that every 2 years?
It is every 2 years now. It was every 3 years, and the grant has changed, and so now it has to be every 2 years.
Okay. And it's the same age group?
6 through 12, yes.
Okay. And I watched part of the presentation to the Board of Ed. Is the same person giving the presentation?
I think it's going to be Georgette Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. John?
Okay, couple things. The last Great Island Committee meeting was on the 20th of September, and so at that meeting there was a pretty extensive update from both you, Monica, as well as Ed, giving a status update on the changes and improvements being made to the island, ranging from sort of maintenance like we've talked about at the last few meetings, as well as some of the bigger stuff that is in progress. The big one that was discussed was the widening of the kind of main access road or the driveway that goes from sort of Rings End Bridge up to the traffic circle, and that work will obviously take a while to complete. There was a sense from that session from, I think, Monica and Ed, that we're looking at access being available next summer, but all that work's got to be completed before that can be granted. The other thing we talked about at this meeting is setting up some liaisons between our citizen members with certain folks in Town Hall who are orchestrating a lot and conducting a lot of this work. And I'm working on that right now, but we'd have that available for the next meeting. So good progress, I think, being made. The only other thing that I've worked on is this is for coastal advisory. So as I mentioned in the last meeting, there are some new proposed rules regarding harbor and mooring regulations. And Kate provided some helpful information about how that all needs to go through in terms of a process for review and approval. One thing I would like to have is an opportunity for a public hearing on some of that. Some of those things are, I think, good changes in the rules. They're still in draft form, but it's something we want to have a public discussion on to make sure everybody is aware of, because, well, there are going to be some proposed changes that we want the public to at least hear about. So more to come on all that, but good progress on all fronts.
I'm sure, coastal, I'm sure people are going to want to hear about that. John, IT, was that ever formally disbanded, or did you just hit pause?
I think the Latin term is sine die, which is adjourned without another meeting set. Kate would actually know this. She's the expert.
I don't know Latin.
Oh, Kate is and you and Gwen were the spelling bee experts because you
Yes,
got all
we
this
did win the
Latin. Come
spelling
on, okay. It was not formally disbanded,
But you completed your work.
we completed our work. It's kind of like ARPA. If we had to reconvene that committee for a particular reason, we could.
Okay, that's my question.
Yeah.
Okay,
But just let me know if I need to send out draft notices and we'll.
okay.
Oxford Building Committee has not met since our last meeting, however, I do have an update on the slide. We did do some research regarding the safety of it, and at this point, the committee just feels that the grade is way too steep. No matter what sort of new design we try to do on the slide, it's just going to compromise the safety of the kids. So we have removed the slide from Oxford, we're going to regrade it, and that project will be taken out of the building committee, which difficult because I know a lot of kids were really excited about it and the PTO was very excited about it, but our first concern is the safety of our kids. So unfortunately, we're going to have to 86 that plan. Mental Health Task Force, we have not met, but we will have our first meeting since the summer on December 24th. There's quite a few activities, I'm sorry, October 10/24. We do have quite a few events that are happening. First and foremost, on October 22nd, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention will be hosting their Fairfield County Out of the Darkness walk in Westport. It was a beautiful event last year. There was a tremendous amount of kids that attended from Darien area and parents. It's really nice. Last year they did it around downtown Westport. They're moving it back over to the beach. Is it Sugar Island? Or Sugar Island?
That's one of my.
Yeah. Which is a great space. There's a good walking path. It's beautiful. So I definitely encourage anybody who's interested in going to that event, go ahead and do that. On November 5th, we'll be hosting our first annual Hope Day. That is going to be at the Depot. The purpose of that is to bring the community together and hope and smash the stigma of mental health and mental illness. There's more information to come, but the Depot is going to be hosting that, so keep an eye out for that. On November 8th and 9th, Paula Sutcliffe and Allie Ramsek will be hosting another mental health first aid class. That will be, I believe, at the Depot as well. It's a great opportunity to learn how to recognize someone who is in a mental health crisis and to do immediate service to provide for them and then get them additional help following. And then on November 18th, we'll have our second host of Survivors Day. Norotan Presbyterian has graciously offered their facilities again. It was an absolutely beautiful event. We opened it up to anybody in the state of Connecticut, and we had survivors attend from all over. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really beautiful. You see, there were people from Old Lyme and people from the Hartford area, and just came together and shared their stories and their journey of loss and suicide. So we're going to do that again. Hopefully we'll have larger outreach and get more people to be engaged in this. So that's
Yeah.
it.
But you know, the people that were there really engaged.
They sure did.
Yeah.
They sure did. It was a beautiful event.
Yeah. Hey, Marcy, so on the slide, are they going to take the pad at the base?
The
of
whole thing is going to be regraded.
They're gonna,
And
so they're ripping that out too?
yep, everything is to be
Okay.
gone. So there will be no access to be able to get down that hill. Even rolling your body, you won't be able to do that. So
Okay.
it'll be much safer
Okay.
for our kids.
Good call.
Thanks.
Okay. Kate, any public comment?
I received none.
None, okay. So next item is discuss and take action on a request from the Norotan Fire Department for a waiver of bidding requirements for the purchase of vehicle stabilization struts. And we have Chief Brendan Keene here, who is here to basically answer any questions. Brendan, yeah, we're going to ask you to come up. So I think you gave us a lot of information on the actual
Tried to.
product, which I personally appreciate. And I don't doubt that this is a good product. I guess the whole no bidding, I have some questions on that. So, and I want to say thank you to Zach McEwen. I went down to the firehouse on Sunday and checked out the, what's the big tripod thing they have?
They have a bunch of Paratech struts that
Right.
can make into a tripod.
Right. So let me ask you, this that you're purchasing, I know it comes in 3 sizes, and I don't really understand. Are you buying all 3?
No, so we're buying, the purpose of our project is to replace existing struts that are primarily used for vehicle stabilization, but they could be used for a multitude of other incidents that we come across in the service we're in. We are looking to replace what we have currently, which is 4 struts, with a basic setup of an additional 4 struts of just newer technology. It's rated for a higher weight class. So that's really all we're trying to do, is replace equipment that's become obsolete. It's over 15, closer to 20 years old at this point. And it's becoming a safety issue where we need to replace the equipment.
So do you have the Paratech Gray and you're getting the Paratech Gold?
No. So we actually have a system that's called Rescue Jacks right now.
Okay.
And we're looking to switch to Paratech, which is what the Heights and Darien already have.
Right.
We are going to be purchasing the Gray system.
Right.
They both have the Gold system. They are interoperable. We
Right.
could use the Grays with the Golds. The difference between the two is the Golds are rated for a little bit heavier weight, better for larger vehicles that they would run into more commonly on 95, longer throw, more stabilization rating, where we're going for the Grays, which are better for smaller vehicles, but could also be used on those large vehicles if needed.
Okay, so did you, the company that's, the product that you have currently, that you're replacing?
Correct.
Did you reach out to them for a price?
We did. So we did. I don't have a quote from them, but in discussion with them, they approximated it to be about $20,000, the same as the, which is similar to the quote I have from Paratech. But then when we did demos of the 2 different systems side by side, the members that were on the committee for the Paratechs, they were much more in favor of buying the Paratechs. They were easier to use. They were lighter. Just the ergonomics of everything just worked better. Additionally, by purchasing those, if we switch to Paratechs, all 3 departments in town would have the same equipment that we're all cross-trained on. It's a major safety issue where if we go to an incident with the Heights or Darien, which does happen quite often, we wouldn't have to question how to use their struts or them question how to use our struts, because we're all trained on the same system. They're the same thing, it's just different weight ratings. So that being said, when it came to the safety factor, and then the fact that the prices were similar, we went with the Paratech, or we're looking to go with Paratech. Additionally, the ratings for weights are much greater with the Paratech than they are with Rescue Jacks. There is another system out there, it's called a Rescue 42. No one in this area has it that I know of. I've never really seen it but online, so we did not pursue that option. It's very similar in design to the Rescue Jacks anyways. So once we demoed both side by side, it was kind of obvious to us that Paratech was the way to go.
So they have the Telecrib struts, right?
The Heights does?
No, Rescue 42, that's the product.
I believe
right?
so.
Yeah, okay.
And
So,
then, sorry.
so Brendan,
Mhm.
do we need all these struts?
Absolutely.
Tell us why.
So they really are basic stabilization equipment that all the departments already have. So if we don't replace them, then we're actually taking away a service or a piece of equipment from our district or someone else's district. When we go to car accidents, you really cannot start, if you have a car that's on its side or you need an extrication or it's in a precarious position, there's no real way to start any kind of patient treatment or getting involved with actual care of those people until the vehicle stabilized. And the best way to do that is with these struts. You can use wood cribbing and stuff like that, but that takes time. It's not as stable. These struts are really, when you lock them in, they're really quite impressive on how stable the vehicle becomes. Additionally, it happens quite often where you will have multiple runs at the same time in town, where if 25, 44, and 21 are committed to the highway and we get a car accident on the post road, because traffic's all backed up now, post road becomes 95, there's potential that equipment might not be available to us because it's already committed elsewhere. Or if the Heights is up all the way up on Hoyt Street with a CO alarm, those 2 same trucks might be committed, where they're second due to our district, it'd take them 15 minutes to get there.
And you carry this equipment on the truck? It's not something you
Correct.
store somewhere and you put
Absolutely.
it on?
Correct.
Okay. Is it made in America?
That's a really good question. I assume so, but I don't know the answer to that. I mean, when I started 20 years ago, we had homemade wood versions of these. We used a lot of wood cribbing. You know, in the last 20 years, that technology has just really improved to the point. This is pretty much basic on any rescue pumper, rescue truck. It's just what people use.
Question, are there circumstances where you're working in tandem, obviously, with a different fire department that may be working on the same vehicle at the same time, and they've had training on one type of struts, and you have training on another type of struts, and now you guys have to work together, and you could be...
That could absolutely
That
happen.
happens.
I mean, so we're pretty fortunate that we do train together a lot already. So we're pretty familiar with each other's equipment, and we do, you know, I want to call them open houses, where we open each other's trucks and we get all the trucks together, we look at what everyone has and go through it. But absolutely, you have a larger scale incident, you could potentially have two different types of struts with multiple different crews working different vehicles, which could lead to confusion. The other advantage of everyone being on the same system, besides the safety factor of it for the actual firefighters and, you know, potential victims, is these systems, like I said, can build upon each other. So we're going to have a basic system. The Heights has a more advanced system. If we have any kind of building collapse or you know, any kind of construction incident where you need more equipment, these are all things that we could work in tandem together.
Monica, they're designed and manufactured in Illinois.
I was pretty confident, but I didn't want to lie to you.
I don't see a dollar amount here. You may know one, but
Yeah.
what is the dollar amount?
The $24,515.
Okay, and you said the other one was 20,000, so this is similar price.
Similar ballpark. Additionally,
20% more.
I'm sorry?
It's 20% more.
You're right. But that conversation also happened, you know, 9 months ago with Rescue Jack.
So speaking of 9 months, so what are you looking at for delivery?
6 months is what they're telling us.
All right. And you can't go direct, right? You have to go through a distributor?
Correct. So the reason I requested the waiver of bid requirement was because in talking to the vendor that we've been dealing with and set us up with the demo and all that stuff, we told them we'd have to go out to bid, and they said, well, we're actually sole source. They have Connecticut as their territory, and no one else is allowed to bid on their equipment, which is why I gave you guys a copy of that letter I asked for as evidence of that.
How do you evaluate that the struts that we have now are at the end of their useful life? Do you test them, or is it just a...
So you can tell on ours by looking at them. I mean, they're starting to look, you know, I don't want to say damaged, but they've got chips and stuff out of them. Some of the pins are missing, pins are broken. They're parts that slide and they pin back into place. Those parts are missing. Additionally, it's just become obsolete equipment. Those older struts that we have, everything you have to manually move and then pin it into place. These new struts, you extend and you just screw a collar real quick and they lock out themselves. Additionally, the struts that we have currently are only rated for 4,000 pounds. These new struts are rated for 20,000 pounds. So it's old technology. It was the original. When we bought it nearly 20 years ago, it was top notch, but at this point it's time for a replacement.
Are you going to try to sell it?
So we can get a 5% trade-in for the old equipment, and if they would honor that, then yes, we're going to get rid of them.
So 5%'s,
Decent amount of money.
it's all right.
Could
Could we do any better?
I can ask them, but looking
Well,
online,
no, yeah, maybe sell to,
I could look. I mean, I don't know what the second-hand market or used market is for those, honestly.
okay.
So it basically just boils down to, look, we've got to accept the higher bid that's 20% higher in order to get equipment that's a lot better and compatible with what we use across our protective services. That kind of boils it down.
Yeah, I
Well
think
said.
the fact that these are the same struts used by the other two departments, so you would have the uniformity,
It's compelling.
and, you know, it's a big factor.
I'm good with this.
You're good?
Yeah.
Mike, any other questions?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yep.
Okay, there are no other questions. May I have a motion to approve a request from the the Norotan Fire Department for a waiver of bidding requirements for the purchase of vehicle stabilization struts? Marcy moves, Mike seconds, all in favor? Okay, thanks, Brendan.
Sure. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is to discuss and take action on a proposal to observe Juneteenth as a town holiday with town hall closure. Kate, you want to kick that off?
I sent in your packets the public act that established Juneteenth as a legal holiday in the state of Connecticut. We also have a survey of, should have a survey of other towns that have Juneteenth as a holiday. And then just a memo from me briefly saying, giving you some questions that I think you need to ask yourselves as you talk about that. What exactly would you be proposing? And understanding that granting the holiday to employees has some costs, more easily quantifiable for the police union employees than for the other unions, but it does have the potential to have some costs. So
Marcy had some good questions. You want to go through the number of holidays that we offer?
I didn't bring it down with me. We offer, it depends on the union.
Do you have that sheet?
Yeah.
I do.
You have it? Okay.
I believe I emailed out
Yeah,
to you
you
all what it was. The police have the fewest, but they also get paid whether they have the day. The way the police things work, you get paid your weekly salary, and then you get paid for the holiday. They do have the option to take it as a comp time or be paid for the holiday. The Public Works Union has 14 even. The Town Hall Union and non-representatives employees have 13 plus 1.1 hour, 1.5 hours. There are a little bit differences. Some of the police, the ones that are, negotiated with the police union do differ from what the other two groups have, but in their instance, it's really the number that's more important.
So the ones that we have that are not in the state are the, we have Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve,
Day
the
after.
New Year's Eve, the Town Hall Union closes we close an hour and a half early. Public Works is completely shut down that day. And then the day after Thanksgiving in most places is not a legal holiday.
So this would push us, if we did do a legal holiday, it would be 14 and a half, okay.
Right.
Okay. Any thoughts, anyone?
We don't have the ability to do flex holidays, I would imagine, because if the wrong people flex, you'd all of a sudden have, like, one town department could be closed and another would be open. I'd imagine
Well,
that wouldn't really work, right?
I think you could, and then you'd have to put in place a policy, and I would do it. Just every department must remain open and able to serve the public. If you feel you can do that with one person, but you can't close completely down if the building is open.
And let everybody else go. In thinking through this, I really felt it was a bit of a swing and a miss by us by having public meetings last year on that date, and certainly do something whereby we would not have a public schedule
You could do that.
on that on that date. I'm certainly cognizant of folks who want to honor that day by having town hall closed, but at the same time, we're not open on Fridays as it is, and I have a concern about the availability of town services for our citizens in our current situation. So I feel a little reticent about adding another full day where town hall is completely closed. I mean, that said, I'm willing to listen to everything else, and I certainly want us to end having public meetings on that day.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's how I support it too.
Marcy, thoughts?
I support exactly that, and I would like, when these union contracts negotiations come up, to have this discussion to enter that into something that they can use as a bargaining to take another holiday and replace it with this if that's what that union feels that they want to do. Right? I mean, there might be some holidays on there that may seem obsolete to some union reps, and I think that giving them the option to take Juneteenth off is something that when we revisit this, we should consider having that conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into negotiations.
Yeah, sure, of course,
You know.
Right.
of course.
To kind of add to that, it feels like if we're going to dip a toe into the water to see about how we would do this, that particularly on the stuff that you sent, Kate, that's kind of a big deal. There's a lot to think through.
Yep.
There's there's several different unions. There's Mike's issue of, we've got yet another day that town hall is not available for our citizens. I certainly would not be prepared to jump in and say, absolutely, let's do this, but I think we should think about it some more and try to even come up with a framework that says these are all the things that you need to take into account if you're going to go forward with a decision like that. I noted in the document that you sent along in our packet that there's a number of towns who've done this already, and it feels like from the descriptions that was taken into account in a union negotiation and that they figured out how to
Yep.
do that. And so there's probably not a whole lot of wheel reinvention here that we need to do, and that we could go find out what they've done in other towns to see if we could leverage some of that work for our own benefit. But it's going to take some time to sort through this, but I think we have some time, so.
So I think I agree with all of this. I think it's a big deal to provide an additional paid holiday and then close town hall for that day. But I do think it's important to observe. I think it was a swing and a miss, as Mike said, to have a meeting, our meeting on that day. But in that vein, I also think we need to look at the calendar of 2024 and look at making sure we don't have meetings on Jewish holidays either. I think if we're going to be paying attention, we need to do a really good job of paying attention, because in the past we've had some meetings and we've also gotten some negative feedback on that. So
Yeah.
let's do a good job when we look at it next year and be paying attention so that we're not, because we're paying attention with the school calendar and we're closing school for those days. Let's do a good job with that too. But I think it is a big deal to provide an additional, there's financial ramifications for closing Town Hall A and then providing an additional paid holiday.
Yeah, I do, when I make the calendar up, I do look at all the religious holidays.
Yeah.
Sometimes the choice has been made to move forward regardless.
Yeah.
And I will add Juneteenth. I don't think it's a problem for this board. Not going to be a problem until 2028, sorry.
When it hits a Monday.
It's not on a Monday again until 2028.
Okay.
But other boards meet, so it should be something,
Yeah, I think that's definitely, we should commemorate this, absolutely, and not having town meetings, I think, is good. And I think a proclamation, acknowledging the importance of the day.
The other thing you could do is your holiday analysis that would have this, to make sure that gets communicated to other boards that set their calendars, just so that
Right.
if they're meeting on a day that is on Juneteenth this coming year, that they're alerted to that and encouraged not to schedule their meeting that day.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so do I have a motion, Kate?
no, you were going to ask to see if anyone wanted to make a motion.
Okay, does anyone want to make a motion?
I don't know that we need a
Make a motion to do what, though?
I think you could, the one thing you could do is move that there be no meetings, period. You can close town hall in the evening of Juneteenth, which would eliminate the ability for any board to have a meeting.
I think that
That
is sensible.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a little reluctant on using the word close,
Okay.
but I would say that we are requesting that no meetings be held.
Then I don't think you need a motion
No?
really to do that.
Okay.
Well, I think
You can
we
have
could-
it if you want.
We could.
Yeah.
I think we could. We'll
Okay.
say, going forward, this is what we're going to be doing.
So the motion would be that the first selectman endeavor to create a proclamation related to honoring Juneteenth, and also that the town undertake measures to not schedule meetings of any boards or commissions on those days, on that day.
Okay,
Yeah.
that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Who, Mike moves? Marcy, seconds?
Sure.
All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thanks. Good job, Mike. Okay, next item on our agenda is discuss updates to the Selectmen's goals and objectives. So you'll remember that we sent to you the 2019 goals and objectives, and we incorporated in this document the policies that our board put in place. I think it's important to keep our goals current and meaningful. As I mentioned, our department heads look for guidance from us, and how we want to deploy our resources is a factor in this. So, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
The things that were highlighted in yellow are all new items gotten from your discussion and from what I saw other towns had done. And you see the whole new category on providing community and recreational opportunities that had been mentioned, in particular that we didn't have anything about recreation.
Are you asking us to analyze how we've done against these goals and objectives? Or to
No,
look
asking
at?
you to say, are these the goals and objectives you want the board to adopt?
Yes.
That department heads use, we ask when they're developing their budget, particularly with capital projects, how does your capital project support the
The goals.
goal or objective of the board of selectmen?
Were there any of these that might have merited coming off the list? All this has been pretty thoughtful, and I don't want to randomly take things off the list, but I think we go through this process and we continually add to things. You get a
I think,
multi-page
yeah,
document that nobody
take them
really
off.
pays any attention to. So
Or
I don't know
if-
if this is something we want to vote to approve, or maybe we take a couple meetings to look at it and just look, is this the way we want to go with this stuff? Is there anything else that could be?
Well, to that end, the department heads use this, and they're starting their budget work now. I didn't personally see anything in there that I thought was redundant or obsolete, and I'd like to give as much guidance as we can, so.
Well, we had
It-
thought about all this before, so
Right.
certainly, and all the stuff in yellow is perfectly acceptable. I'm just saying that we don't want this to get unwieldy.
No,
Right.
you don't.
No, it's one page.
Yeah, I remembered from our other discussions about these ads, and so when I looked at it today, I actually had the same thought about something that, that could be, knocked off, and I didn't really see anything that I thought was appropriate, though I certainly looked, because I like reducing checklists when I can.
So I think, to your point, let's leave it as is, and then maybe over the course of the coming year, we can just say, can we make this more pithy?
Is there any thoughts?
Agreed? No?
Yeah, okay. All right. Then may I have a motion to approve the proposed updates to the Board of Selectmen goals and objectives? John moves, Mike seconds, all in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help on that, Kate. That was, okay. Next item on the agenda is actually, we're all set here. May I have a motion to approve a request to amend the compensation plan as recommended for the tax collector for the 2023-2024 session? Whatever. Marcy moves. Mike seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. No transfers. Reappointments. We had interviewed some people, and very, very, very grateful for people continuing to step forward and volunteering for our town, spending their free time for the benefit of our community. So with that, may I have a motion to reappoint Janet King to the Human Services Commission for a term expiring on 11/30/23 and a subsequent term expiring on November 30th, 2026. Marcy moves, Mike seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. May I have a motion to reappoint Susan Cameron to the Sewer Commission for a term expiring December 30th, 2024? John moves, Mike seconds. All in favor? And may I have a motion to reappoint Sherry Green to the Architectural Review Board for a term expiring on June 30th, 2025? Marcy moves, John seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Next item is to review and approve the September 18th Board of Selectmen minutes, the regular meeting. Any edits, suggestions, changes?
None.
Nope, seeing none. May I have a motion to approve? Sarah moves, Mike seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Agenda review. Any items people want to put on the agenda?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn? Marcy moves, John seconds. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, thanks again, Brendan.